was transcribing the Coltrane solo on Monk at the 5 spot. It was on Well You Needn't. And you know the tune, right? It slips back and forth and half steps on the A section, and then has a progression of chromatically ascending and descending dominant chords on the bridge. And I was taking apart some of Coltrane's lines on that, and I noticed that he was just basically voice leading triads back and forth and seventh chords back and forth through the two different keys. Of course, it's a very simplistic and crass explanation for, you know, a really beautiful artistry in his playing on this. But if you boiled it down in terms of the content of the notes, that's actually what was going on. And I just had this epiphany, like, okay, well, if he's doing that while the chords are moving, what if I do that while the chords aren't moving?
Right, right. So over a vamp kind of thing.
Exactly. And so there that was. So then I thought, okay, well, then this is a very important thing. Another thing that my students will be familiar with me saying is when you're transcribing and you learn something from a player, don't leave it at that. You know, you have to project yourself into it and think, what did that individual practice in order to get to that? So anytime I find a pattern of any kind in a solo that I'm transcribing, I figure out what the overall pattern is, how it fits across whatever scale system or arpeggios or whatever. And then I work it out. You know, could be a chromatic approach pattern. It could be, as my old analysis of jazz styles teacher used to say at North Texas, you know, a cyclical quadruplet. That was a thing that, you know, Coltrane used to do a lot of, you know, a triadic figure or a scale figure where groupings of 4 where the first and the last note are the same note, right? It didn't really matter what the other notes were as much as the fact that the first and the last note were the same. So you had this kind of sound, right? Super familiar to anybody that listens to jazz improvisation. So I, in figuring out that Coltrane solo, I thought, oh, well, he just obviously practiced his diatonic triads, ascending and descending in all 12 keys. Clearly, he played them in every inversion and across the entire register of his horn. Maybe I should do that too, right?
What a thought.
Yeah. And so I started to do it, and I thought, wow, this is hard to do. I thought I was pretty good, but I'm making a lot of mistakes, you know.